My name is Size Matters, and let me pose a question to you. Why do some games have multiplayer components? I mean games that are story focused. Why do these games have multiplayer components to them? In games like Dark Souls, the multiplayer component adds thrill and excitement to have people help you, or not. In other games, like Battlefield, the core component is the multiplayer. But that is the thing. Many games have multiplayer components solely for the entertainment value. It is a lot of fun to play Ghost Recon's Wildlands campaign with friends as it adds to the experience of being a group of badasses. But the Ghost Wars PvP portion of the game does not add any value to the story portion of the game. Similarly, you can play Metal Gear Solid Online, but what does it add to the overall story of the game? However, there are some games that add to the experience the story is trying to deliver through the usage of multiplayer. And in this video, I want to talk about those games as well as why those elements are important. Let's get started. Multiplayer in a story-focused game can add a subtle layer to the pre-existing narrative. When Mass Effect 3 released, the game came with an online 4-person co-op horde mode. At first, this game mode felt tacked on, a requirement by the publisher to bring in more revenue. But while you dive into the horde mode, you realize that this multiplayer is actually the fight on the ground that has been going on. The fights and battles you hear in the background of the campaign, the blood spilt by the people who are defending against the enemy machines, that is what you are in this game mode. Now, you might say I am looking too much into this, but take a second to realize that in the multiplayer game mode, you can experience a Krogan asking help from a Salarian to help a downed Turian. Quick side note, these groups all hate each other. You can play as the elite forces of each species, the N7 group of humans who hold the line. These are the handful of elite fighters who you hear rumors about that pull those impossible missions. Finally, you get to face the toughest enemy the Milky Way has ever faced in a more intimate way than in the single player mode. The odds are against you and you must become this legend that held the post, that brought back that crucial intel, or disabled the objective so that others in the city may live. This is where the multiplayer helps the story. If you ever wanted to get to know more about the universe of Mass Effect, the multiplayer is a great way to explore that universe. You can be told about different species working together and setting aside their long-time hate. You can be told about the special elite forces who are on the ground recovering crucial intel. You can be told about the endless numbers of forces the enemy has, but this multiplayer allows you to experience that. This game has a multiplayer portion in a very obvious setting, but it still helps support the underlying narrative. Now look, The Division has a weak narrative and a misguided message from its story. Nonetheless, an essential part to the story of The Division is that part of New York has gone to hell, and the state of the city is an anything, free-for-all survival of the possible collapse of society. In the game, there is an area known as the Dark Zone. This area combines the PvE and the PvP portions of the game into one zoned off area of the in-game world. You can see already where I'm going with this. The Dark Zone is the perfect example of the essential part of the narrative. The city is in ruins and you cannot trust anyone. Not rioters, not cleaners, and neither can you trust other Division agents. Anyone you meet inside the Dark Zone can be your enemy. The narrative is combined with the gameplay. It tells the story of the near collapse of New York by having you scavenge for weapons in that dangerous area, looking over your shoulder and possibly turning against a fellow Division agent for your survival. This is the story you are told by Captain Benitez or by Agent Wong, how some citizens of New York have lost all sense of civility and have resorted to the worst that humanity has. Adding narrative to multiplayer can change the landscape of a game altogether. Playing Journey is an experience that is unique to every single gamer, but when you run into another player, it adds to that experience. It tells you that you are not alone in this journey, and although you may not be able to speak to this person or get to know their name, this multiplayer edition adds to your experience. If you add a multiplayer mode with no narrative tie-in, then your single player campaign can be easily forgotten, leaving hours of hard work in the shadow like most modern Call of Duty games. Additionally, making a multiplayer component for the entertainment value is fine, but can quickly burn out players that see no other value than that of the immediate gratification in the multiplayer. An example of this is Mass Effect Andromeda? Yeah, Mass Effect Andromeda multiplayer. The idea is the same as the previous entry, but now has updated combat and the matches are shorter. Unfortunately, the necessity to fight for the galaxy is not there, and neither does the lore for using the elite forces in Mass Effect 3 multiplayer. I know that there is fight at stake though, but that is a story for another video. Leading to a multiplayer in Mass Effect Andromeda that exists because it happened to work for Mass Effect 3, but with no real reason to exist. This is not to bash on games that focus on multiplayer. Games like PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds are legitimately fun by themselves without any in-game story to be presented. This video is to showcase the power of adding narrative to multiplayer components. Now, you might be asking, but what does it matter if these games tell a narrative through multiplayer? Multiplayer portions are fun and I will keep coming back to them. Because a multiplayer that is created for pure entertainment value and a multiplayer that adds narrative behind that entertainment is the difference between hearing that a rebel group stole the plans to the Death Star and actually watching the group of rebels steal the plans. Hey guys, thank you for watching. If you like this video, hit that like button. If you like what I put out, hit the subscribe button. Any ideas or comments for future videos, leave it in the comment section down below. Want to announce this is my 6th video now, and this is sort of a trial run. 10 videos, if I don't see if it's working, might just cut this whole thing. So let me know if you want to see more or what would you like to see in the future. This is Size Matters, and I'll catch you on the multiplayer.